Tonight on News 5 Live, deja vu in the United Democratic Party with latest domestic violence report. Chairman calls for leaders' resignation. Inbound and outbound goods in limbo at the port, and 3 Belize City murders in 48 hours. Details of these stories and more coming up on News 5 Live.
Las tradiciones son atemporales, pero mantenerse al día es necesario. DigiWallet me permitirá hacer todas mis compras favoritas. Es fácil y seguro. Solo es agregar dinero a mi DigiWallet y ya puedo irme de compras en mis tiendas locales favoritas. Oye tú, a mi familia le encanta. A mí también. Es nuestra nueva tradición. DigiWallet, próximamente.
Your life just got a lot less complicated with Belize Bank Contactless MasterCard Debit Card. Introducing our Standard Debit and MasterCard Platinum Debit Cards. Now you can make purchases anywhere MasterCard is accepted with one tap, pay and go. Your contactless card never has to leave your hands, especially in these times. And your card is embedded with multiple layers of security. Platinum card holders get to enjoy extra benefits like price protection, purchase protection, trip inconvenience, and luggage protection, just to name a few. Start enjoying a cashless lifestyle today with the Belize Bank.
Watch The Truth of God with Pastor Gino Jennings of the First Church of Our Lord Jesus Christ every Sunday morning at 8 a.m. exclusively on Channel 5 Belize. The Truth of God with Pastor Gino Jennings every Sunday at 8 a.m. on Channel 5 Belize.
The ministry is collaborating with SpeedNet Communications to have a vaccination campaign for children ages 12 to 17 years. Children who get vaccinated will get a chance to win fabulous prizes, including backpacks with supplies, Nintendo Switch, tablets, book tuitions, and MiFi with 3 months data. Only children 12 to 17 years old can participate in this SMART and Ministry of Health and Wellness raffle. At vaccination sites, each vaccinated child, upon being vaccinated, will receive a ticket to place their name, age, date of birth, BHIS number, and contact information on, which will be filled out by a parent or legal guardian. The sooner a person vaccinates, the more chances he or she will have to win. Get vaccinated, Belize! Vaccination saves lives.
Child Development Foundation, or CDF as we are popularly known, has been partnering with Social Security Board since 2015. Social Security Board supports our child protection initiatives. They support us to build capacity for teachers and parents to identify the indicators of abuse. In particular, they support our counseling center so that we can provide trauma-focused counseling therapy to children who have been abused. Social Security has also supported our prevention program, the Rise Girls program, to help us to equip young women who are in primary and secondary school to understand more about adolescent development and also to build good self-esteem and to build safe social networks.
Over the past 6 years, we have established a partnership with the Social Security Board. It has assisted us in addressing some of their social welfare needs and health care needs of our older persons, specifically in Belize City, San Ignacio, and Belmopan. We have had the opportunity to do home visits with our geriatrician and physiotherapists. We distribute meals to them. We also have that opportunity to interact with them, to observe them. There are needs that may be identified. If we can address those, we do so.
Social Security has been one of our biggest donors throughout the years, and the services that they provide to us is basically financial, and it helps with a lot of things here at the center, like bills and groceries. The center is a drop-in center for the mentally ill, elderly, homeless, deportees. They come here, they take a shower, they get their breakfast, they get their lunch, and they also do recreational stuff here at the center. They can watch television, they listen to music, they play games, and they just, interact with each other, because here it's like a family.
Pelican, the beer of Belize.
This newscast is brought to you by the Belize Bank Limited. Our country, your bank.
Good evening. Welcome to News 5 Live for Friday, January 21st. I am Annlyn Apollonia. Patrick Faber must go, and he must go now. That's a firm individual position taken by the chairman of the United Democratic Party amid another scandal involving the embattled leader of the opposition. It follows a police report that was filed by Faber's fiancée on Wednesday, alleging she was struck with a hammer and had her laptop destroyed during a physical altercation at the couple's residence in Lords Bank. Dr. Shanika Arnold has since recanted her statement and has indicated to the Commissioner of Police that she will not be pursuing any further action against her fiancé. While that may be so, the political fallout and backlash that Faber is facing from within his party is once again threatening to unseat him from his leadership role in Parliament as well as the UDP. This afternoon, Chairman Mike Perfeet spoke candidly with the media, sharing his perspective on the matter. For starters, Perfeet reflected on the events of 2021, which saw an unsuccessful recall convention amid a similar firestorm that the party leader was facing. It's the kind of deja vu that saw the party virtually imploding under the weight of allegations of domestic abuse at the hands of its leader. Perfeet is fervently calling for Faber's resignation.
Given the circumstances, the party leader should resign as leader of the opposition in the House, and he should resign as leader of the United Democratic Party. Middle of last year, we were here. There was an incident, and I even told the media and the nation that from what we could see, the party leader hit a door, and maybe he was frustrated and angry and going through some issues that we all go through in our personal lives. But it was extreme in a way what he did. He said mea culpa. He said he was going to get some help. And we all accepted that and say, let's move on. The condition that I had put on the situation was, this could not happen again. Well, it has happened again. And let me be very clear. Whether he is guilty or innocent of what was said against him in a statement, that is for a court and a judge to decide. That's not for me to decide. But my position is that there is too much smoke for there to be no fire. Dr. Arnold gave a statement, and that statement clearly indicates that she was harmed by the party leader to the point where charges of assault and destruction to property have been brought against him. A warrant was issued for his arrest, and I think that under the circumstances, if the party leader loves the UDP the way he says he does, in the interest of the United Democratic Party, he needs to resign from his positions in the party so that we can salvage what we have of the party and move on and start to rebuild again. The people of Belize are not going to tolerate a United Democratic Party whose leader is consistently involved in domestic violence situations. We cannot expect the people of Belize to believe in us. We cannot expect our women, our daughters, our sisters, our brothers to respect and support the UDP under these circumstances. So I repeat, in the best interest of the UDP, the Honorable Patrick Faber should resign. And that is my position.
Notwithstanding Dr. Arnold's statement being rescinded, the sequence of events, as detailed in her report, are damning, if indeed they are factual. Purfeet admits, however, that to remove Faber as leader, the National Party Convention would have to decide on a course of action.
Ms. Arnold, Dr. Arnold gave a statement to the police. Subsequent to that, she said she wants no charges against the party leader, correct? But in that statement, she only said she doesn't want any more charges. She did not say that the statement that she gave to the police was not factual. She didn't say that. So we have to accept that what she said in that statement was true. Now, when you, based on the first question, I can't make the party leader resign. I can't make him go. He has to resign of his own volition. And if he doesn't resign, then I will encourage the National Convention to make a move to remove him. And if the UDP decides that the Honorable Patrick Faber is to be their leader and that's the leader they're sticking with, given all these circumstances, then the UDP is not an organization that I think that I want to be a part of. Just saying that he should resign from his post and step down may very well not make me a senator come Monday. He may replace me in the Senate on Monday for saying this. I will be attacked by some quarters of the party, vilified and ridiculed, but the torpedoes will have to be damned. I cannot, in good conscience, as the chairman of this party, tell the country and tell you that I approve or will defend the actions of the party leader.
You mentioned earlier as well that perhaps you wouldn't be surprised come Monday that you are removed as a senator in the upper house. Is it to suggest then that the party leader, for all intents and purposes, may be vindictive as to why you taking a position would merit that kind of a consequence as a result of you standing up against this particular behavior?
Well, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know for sure that I will be removed, but I wouldn't be surprised. I am asking my party leader and my leader of the opposition, the person who appointed me to my Senate position, I am asking him to resign.
In responding to the UDP chairman's steadfast position, Faber says in reference to Purfeet, quote, vultures circling what he perceives to be dead carcass, hungry for power. I have won 5 general elections. I will not take political advice from a man who has never won a single political race, not even a constituency convention, unquote. On the matter of a course of action to be taken by the party executive, we asked the chairman of the UDP if the decision-making process would involve delegates and others within the party's hierarchy. Here's how he responded.
Is it only the decision of the convention to have him removed, or would the wider, how would I say it, if there are delegates or there are other people within the party who wield a certain power would be a part of this decision making? I hope
the people who are elected to the post within the leadership of the party, leader, first deputy, second deputy, chairman, vice chairman, we either resign or a majority of the delegates will have to trigger a special convention to have us removed. So a number of voices can't get together and make you move. There has to be an official trigger to have any of us be removed from our elected posts unless we resign first. So it's either we resign or we are removed by the 2/3 majority of the delegates in question.
It has been a violent start to 2022, with Belize City being the national hotspot once again. Last night, Michael Lambe was killed on Carl Thompson Street and Joseph James was gunned down in broad daylight after leaving court. Isani Cayetano reports.
In the past 48 hours, Belize City has recorded 3 murders, the most recent taking place this morning in the vicinity of the downtown area. Joseph James, known to many as Tanga, was executed near the corners of Prince Street and West Canal as he drove a sports utility vehicle in the company of Mary Beth Wade. Norma James was waiting for her grandson at his house, but he never arrived. An hour or so later, a neighbor would come over to inform her of the deadly shooting that also left Wade injured.
Neighbor come across, come tell what happened. But I don't know what else going on. I don't know nothing about his life or who, if anybody have anything with her or what. Has been a follow up like that, right? But that's all I know, that either somebody made it wrong me find young, right?
During the armed assault, the 33-year-old attempted to drive away from his attackers, but collided into a concrete fence on the other side of the waterway. The SUV tore a hole into the wall before coming to rest on the sidewalk. James had just left from the courthouse where he had scheduled appearance for a previous offense. In July of last year, Tanga, along with 4 others, including the Baptist and Greenwich brothers, were arrested and charged for brandishing an illegal firearm in a video that was shared on social media.
This morning, we said that we are come here and we can talk about something, right? Me and grandpa come, and when we come back here, he then tell me say that he done gone a court already. His girlfriend tell me that he gone a court, so we gone, and I tell the girlfriend, we call her and tell her that me and grandpa they wait for her when he come from court, right? So we sit down for a man and they wait for her.
The father of 4, it is believed, was on the wrong side of town when he was ambushed. In October 2021, Tanga would become a viral sensation yet again when 2 women, including Mary Beth Wade, would go on a profane social media rant, arguing over him. The online spot coined the popular expression entanglement. This was while he was purportedly locked up at the Belize Central Prison. But his cousin, who spoke with us off camera, chose to remember him for the caring person he was.
Anyone that wanted anything, he will always find a way to help them. That is him. Who didn't know Tanga, that is the good part of him. We don't know nothing that he did. We don't know nothing that he do. People talk things about him and say a lot about him. But he's a nice person. He never show us no bad side of him. He have his friends. He have people that he always talk to. But his family was the main important thing to him.
Notwithstanding his past, the James family is grieving the loss of their loved one.
It's really hard because you know what, if you sit down to wait for somebody and if you hear one shocking news like that, we sit down here to wait for and we hear one shocking news. And it's very hard and tough to come sit down here if we can hear this, that this happened to her now. Really hard to me, hard.
James's murder was preceded by another deadly attack on Thursday evening. It happened across town in the Jane Usher Boulevard neighborhood. 26-year-old Michael Lambe was standing on Carl Thompson Street in the company of another individual when a pair of gunmen emerged from the direction of Mud Street and opened fire. Injured, Lambe fell to the ground. His attacker then stood over him and completed his assignment before fleeing the scene of the shooting in a waiting vehicle. Police are yet to provide additional details on these latest homicides. Reporting for News 5, I am Isani Cayetano.
Today, at the celebration of the 44th anniversary of the Belize Defense Force, the official ceremonial change of command parade took place at the Sir Colville Young Parade Square in Price Barracks. Azaria Loria was officially installed as Brigadier General and the new commander of the BDF. News 5's Dwayne Moody reports.
Dignitaries, including government officials and members of the diplomatic corps, began filing into the parade square at Price Barracks for the installation of a new commander of the BDF this afternoon. Prime Minister John Briceño's arrival was followed by that of Governor General Froila Salam, and the ceremonial activity commenced. The change of command saw the now retired Brigadier General Stephen Ortega hand over leadership of the BDF to Azaria Loria. It was a proud moment as members of battalion and the Air Wing Special Boat Unit witnessed the historical event.
This routineness, if I may use such an expression, is the cornerstone of who we are and what we believe in as Belizeans. a society of free men and women who believe in the supremacy of God and desire to live in a free and democratic nation. And so I'm honored to be with you today to celebrate two significant milestones for the BDF, or the Belize Defense Force. Its 44th anniversary in service to the people of Belize and the change of command from Brigadier General Stephen Ortega to Brigadier General Azrael Loria. I'm honored more so that even amidst the military pomp and ceremony, General Loria is fully aware that he is here to serve this nation and to uphold our democratic principles and our values, which are rooted in our peaceful, constructive, progressive, and authentic Belizean revolution.
In his address, Brigadier General Loria says that under his command, the senior leadership will be required to operate with humility and make use of lessons on ethical and moral values obtained through professional military training overseas.
The BDF shall be robust and agile to incorporate new technology, embrace change, and develop its human resources and capabilities to contribute to the stability, security, and prosperity of Belize. This vision is very relevant in the way the BDF conducts its administrative and operational tasks in today's contemporary security environment. In order that we keep working towards the fulfillment of this vision statement, there must be a buy-in from our senior military leadership. A large organization such as the BDF deployed nationwide makes span and control difficult at times. With that said, it is my intent to make good use of the senior leadership in building the team, because it's not about me, but only from the strength and wisdom of the team that we will achieve that dynamism needed to keep improving and moving the force forward.
Dwayne Moody for News 5.
Coming up, stevedore strike leaves arriving and departing goods in limbo. Details when we return.
Hello friends, this is Dr. Bob Roberts with another 60-second sermon from God's Word. The Bible says, "These things have I written unto you that believe on the name of the Son of God, that you may know that you have eternal life." God wants His children to live with assurance and face the future with faith, but so many live in fear. When you ask someone if they are saved, they often reply, "Well, I hope that I am." Well, God wants you to know that. If you could be saved and not know it, then you could lose it and never miss it. Let me tell you an imaginary story that happened the night the death angel went through Egypt, taking the lives of all the firstborn sons in the homes where the blood had not been applied. A Hebrew father is putting his son to bed. The son says, "Father, will I die tonight?" The father says, "Son, I don't know. We have placed the blood on the doorpost, but we will have to wait until tomorrow and see." Another Hebrew puts his son to bed, and he too asks, "Father, am I going to die tonight?" The father replies, "No, son, you're not going to die. We have placed the blood on the doorpost and lintel, and just as God has instructed, and God can be trusted, go to bed and sleep well." Now the question is this: which son was the safest? Well, the answer is they were equally safe because both had the blood applied. The only difference is that one went to bed in faith and the other in fear. What about you, friend? Are you facing the future with faith or with fear? Today's 60-second sermon has been presented by Christian Foundations of Faith in cooperation with the Baptist churches in your area.
Digi, the premier name in voice and data, is also the country's leading provider of innovative services and solutions for small business and enterprise. At DigiBusiness, we offer solutions, tools, and applications to support your business needs. Reduce costs, improve efficiency, and excel in a changing world where no idea is too big and no task is too small. From technology advising to design implementation and management, Our team of qualified solution sales and specialists can develop a reliable and robust infrastructure, allowing you to spend more time on what matters most, your business. Visit us online to explore how DigiBusiness innovative products and solutions can help your business reduce costs and improve efficiency.
I visited the land of Serbia, a great many miles away. I ascended the Mount Everest few people have conquered. I roared on the snow-covered Antarctic and Arctic. I rolled swiftly across the vast, untamed desert. Ling Long Tire conquers every corner of the world.
Distributed by Enrique Martinez and Sons Limited, 2 miles Philip Golson Highway, Belize City.
This morning, tensions were high outside the Port of Belize Limited compound as stevedores took industrial action. With them off the job, reports quickly emerged that the Belize Defense Force soldiers were being called in to do their work. So when a truck filled with BDF officers showed up at the port this morning, the stevedores were outraged. Police officers standing guard at the entrance of the compound forcefully removed one man from the compound. Outside the gates, other stevedores were on watch, prepared to take action if BDF soldiers began working the ship. News 5 spoke to Evan Mose Hyde, president of the Christian Workers Union.
It is an industrial action at this point in time.
Is this as a result of that decision that was taken back in November? Is this something that is extending from that in July? What is it?
Right now, this is everything. This has to do with the fact that we have unresolved negotiation with the sugar, and then the trigger, of course, yesterday with the port's essential refusal to allow the recommendations of our general foreman. Stevedores have essentially, several members stayed out here all night. Because there has been a rumor that there is an intention to try to unload the ships without using stevedore labor. And that would be breaking the back of our industrial action. Early this morning we got the sense report that the BDF would be used, and subsequently a truck with BDF in the back went to the pierhead. So presently there are BDF who are on the pierhead, which essentially is if that is what happens, it's the government of Belize putting it in place, an intervention on behalf of the employer and a private entity to break an industrial action of a legitimately formed union and a legitimate legal industrial action on the part of the members.
They are not as yet doing our job. We not allow that to happen. We spoke to Mr. William this morning, and he spoke to one of Kareem, like advisor for security. Whenever we see any container move, we going in there. That I know if motor baby. This is my job. I have a little business, but this is a big part of my income. And the thing of it is that we have to make way for the younger stevedores.
And Mose Hyde had a message for the state when we asked him for a comment. He contends that the state's action is a provocation to the stevedores currently engaged in industrial action.
That is not their role. That is not their purview. They are not in the business of breaking the back of a legitimate industrial action. They have a responsibility, indeed, to guide, to mediate the impasse that we have here, but not to take it on themselves to protect the interests of the employer. That's a private entity, a receivership no less. And you have decided that you are going to put our security forces out there. That is outrageous. A lot of what is involved is standing by and looking to see what happens now. We have gone on the record to the state to say this is not how this is to be played out. BDF soldiers are not to be placed on the pierhead to do the work of stevedores. We have put that on the record. That is not only outrageous, but that is a serious provocation. Because what you are saying to these guys is, well, guess what? You have your gripe, you have your issues, but we don't want to hear that. If you don't work, the state is going to do it on behalf of a private entity. Nah, man, it can't work like that, man. It cannot work like that.
The CEO of Port of Belize Limited, Andy Lane, was tight-lipped about the purpose of the BDF's presence on the compound when we asked him about it via Zoom today.
As it pertains to BDF soldiers on the compound, can you confirm whether or not they were there to take over the work that stevedores left behind as a result of the industrial action that they're engaged in, and who called these BDF officers to take charge?
I have no comments on the security or operating arrangements of the port.
With all stevedores now out on strike, the hands of the management at the Port of Belize Limited are tied. One ship docked since Thursday morning is still waiting to be unloaded, but could simply leave without leaving its cargo for the local market. Additional ships are scheduled for the weekend, but there will likely be no stevedores to unload them either. CEO Lane says whether or not they will wait around is unknown.
I mean, first of all, the ship Tropic Mist arrived here at 9 o'clock yesterday morning, and it's still here, and it will probably sail without any cargo being exchanged. So that means that import containers that were ordered for Belizean supply chains will go back to the US. We have some more ships lined up for the weekend. I don't know how patient the ship operators will be. They might divert the ship somewhere else. They might wait. They might go back to where they came from. That has to be their choice. Again, I'm very, very sorry for the inconvenience that our ship operating customers and the agents are experiencing here. It's very unfortunate and very regrettable.
And so, as CEO Lane puts it, industrial action at the port is bad for business. But the stevedores' main concern is getting their sugar separation payment. They are demanding this as compensation for the Belize sugar industry's move to the Big Creek port. Tensions were already high on Thursday when the management at port refused to hire 2 crane operators recommended by the general foreman. CEO Lane gave PBL's position on that issue.
We have a fully agreed standard process, which is largely documented in the CBA, which governs how do we on-hire new workers and how do we promote workers through the system. There are many stevedores in line, in queue, and there's an order, and that needs to be followed. Sugar redundancy doesn't exist. It's a myth that's been created by the union, and it's presently harming the people that they're supposed to be representing. No stevedore is being made redundant from Port of Belize. There is a tribunal in progress, which the union continually tries to disrupt and walk away from or simply don't turn up for. And that's where that discussion should be had. A strike in the middle of this tribunal is illegal. That means I can put the 14 stevedores that were registered to work yesterday through the disciplinary process as per the CBA, but I will not do that because this is not the stevedores' fault. This is not the stevedores' doing. This is the creation of the Christian Workers Union, and they have to take full responsibility for now what will be a drying up of inbound supply chain, the failure to ship Belizean shippers export cargo. This will have ramifications in the community. It will have ramifications for the competitiveness of Belize in the global environment. What is going on here is nothing short of lunacy.
After the break, ground is broken for a clinic in one of Belize's most important tourism destinations. Stay with us.
Who offers the best mobile experience in Belize? You don't know? Well, the truth is, Digi, our national telecom, of course. Digi has the largest mobile LTE advanced network with over 96% countrywide coverage, offering the fastest mobile LTE data speeds at the most affordable rates with mobile plans that fit your lifestyle. The truth is, only Digi gives the ultimate mobile LTE experience. Visit your nearest Digi store to join the bigger, better network today. Digi, our national telecom. Visit us online at www.livedigi.com.
The BWS app is here and is available for download from the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. BWS customers can use the app to view water usage and current bill, read your own meter, apply for new residential and commercial connections, apply for reconnection, make reports, contact BWS customer service, and much more. Download the BWS app today.
Belize Water Services, delivering water and more.
The Royal Group of companies, of which Madagascar is a part, believes in paying its fair share of taxes to support the economy and the government of Belize, which shows that we are good corporate citizens. It also makes good business sense because it saves us time and money. Our messenger is extremely happy as well because previously he had to stand in long lines that extended as far as the tax department gate, and now with this online filing, he no longer has to do this. Our employees are so happy to register individually, and at the end of the year they can check and see what they have paid, and then when it's time to file they can actually compare it with the tax department and get a fast response from the tax department. By us signing up and our individuals also signing up, it shows that we are good corporate citizens and we're doing the right thing for Belize.
Iris Belize, effortless, easy and efficient electronic tax services for everyone.
We have been a partner with Smart for over 10 plus years. We have a full Smart plan we use as our major driver for our business. We have a service that rolls over in that if you call one and it is busy, it rolls over to the next line. So once you call us, you can get us at any time. Before we got this Smart service, we were paying upwards of nearly $2,000 in phone bills. Since we've had our Smart service, we pay an average about $600. So we've had tremendous saving, more than 50%. For the businesses, if you want to save money, switch to Smart because it is far more cost effective and the service is excellent.
Smart continues to be innovative in bringing new technology and meaningful savings during these challenging times to businesses across Belize. Sign up for our VoIP technology or broadband packages and save more.
The Belize Tourism Board, Ministry of Health, and the Placencia Village Council are collaborating to finally bring a polyclinic to the village. The clinic will include consultation rooms, reception and registration areas, waiting rooms, an asthma bay, pharmacy, triage rooms, and laboratory. Minister of Tourism Anthony Mahler and Minister of Health Kevin Bernard were on hand for the groundbreaking today.
This is just a start. Like I said, we did the Hopkins, a portion of the Hopkins Road a few months ago, and we completed that, and that was public-private sector. This project is public-private sector. Like the director said, we have some commitment for some of the equipment and an ambulance from the private sector, and I truly believe in that partnership. We have wealth untold, and like the anthem says, we have wealth untold. but we have to package it. And we can have the greatest product, but if it's not packaged properly, if it doesn't meet international standards, then it won't be successful. And I believe that this polyclinic in this era is timely. It is the first of its kind. The Ministry of Health, the people from the Ministry of Health have told me that they want this to be the prototype, and this is going to be the replica for the rest of the country as they move on to building more polyclinics.
I'm very honored to be part of this very memorable occasion, and I'm very happy for the people of Placencia Peninsula. This groundbreaking ceremony is surely a reason, as I said, to celebrate. Over the past 20 years, we have seen the growth and development of the Placencia Peninsula. This small fishing village has now become one of Belize's prime tourist destination and one of the major foreign income earner for our country.
The Placencia Village Council has contributed the land for the clinic. The Ministry of Health is providing technical requirements staff, and the Tourism Board will manage the disbursement of funds. The $2.5 million project is being paid for through tourism development funds established for the destination. Contributors include GOB, Norwegian Cruise Lines, and the Protected Areas Conservation Trust. The Placencia Polyclinic building should be ready for use sometime later this year. A lawsuit brought against the Briceño administration by UDP Senator Mike Perfit was heard before the Supreme Court this morning. It has to do with a contract that was awarded to SMART for the provision of Microsoft services to the government of Belize. Earlier today, Perfit commented on the matter and how he intends to proceed with the case, even if he is removed as senator amid the latest Faber fiasco.
If I am removed, then certainly I will continue the case. And the Belizean people have to understand that the Prime Minister cannot just break the law and move on. In an interview a couple of weeks ago, the Prime Minister basically indicated, yes, we broke the law, but that's not my fault that the public servants, their fault, and he totally threw the Financial Secretary under the bus. But that is unacceptable. The buck stops with the Ministry of Finance and the Minister of Finance, like he used to like to say when he was the leader of the opposition. And so he is responsible for making sure that the contract reached the Contractor General. And we are hoping that the judge will quash this contract and send a clear message that the government cannot break the law. Behind door number one, you have to admit that you broke the law and you purposely did not send the contract to the Contractor General. And a company that is associated with your family got the contract. You have to admit that one. And so there is clear bias. If you don't want to go through that door, the second door is this. You don't know. So the Minister of Finance is saying he doesn't know what's going on in his ministry. Oh, you don't know, Daniel? You have to know.
Late last year, the Briceño administration announced that it will be undertaking an amnesty exercise in 2022 to regulate the immigration status of tens of thousands of nationals from Central America and CARICOM. These persons would be processed and, if they satisfy the criteria, offered permanent residency. Immigration CEO Dr. Gilroy Middleton gave details at Thursday's press conference.
We're currently speaking with stakeholders. We started from last week. This week we're speaking with village councils, the Mayor's Association, Alcalde Association. Currently Director Arzu is meeting with the Solicitor General. So we're meeting with stakeholders. The budget has been set and we're doing the rounds. So as you noted, so we're in the preparation mode.
The deadline is quickly approaching for Belize to submit its memorial on the territorial dispute with Guatemala to the International Court of Justice. By the rules of the court, much cannot be disclosed during this time. But on Thursday, during a press conference held by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Trade and Immigration, News 5 asked Minister Amon Courtney about where the country is with its submission to the World Court.
We are preparing the documents and we will file them on time. There's nothing more. We said this at the very beginning. We are restricted from speaking on this issue by our own attorneys and by the rules of the ICJ. So we are working diligently on preparing the counter memorial.
The proposal has frequently come up, even under previous city councils, that the Belize City Council should charge a garbage tax. It is something that the current mayor, Bernard Wagner, has also said he supports and would move to implement. But Prime Minister John Briceño told reporters this week that it is something he will have to look at first.
Obviously, it's something that we would have to take a very hard look before we decide whether we would support a garbage tax. But again, we need to add that they were elected, so it's not, we can't don't do it or do it. That's something that the council would have to decide whether we would support it or that's another matter. When that time comes and that they really are serious about it, I guess our political leaders of the city would have to sit with the mayor, I suppose. There's no such, it's not written in a book as to what is the process, but I'm sure that the DPM, along with the Minister of Tourism and who is the deputy leader of the party for the Eastern Division, and the chairman of the party, who is, they're all residents of Belize City, I'm sure that they will have an input because it can affect them either positively or negatively in the polls. So obviously, the city council needs to work with the area representatives. It will be foolhardy if they don't.
Just ahead, some vaccines are about to expire. Find out which one and how many people are left to get vaccinated when we return. But first, here's a weather update with data from the Belize Met Service.
This weather update is brought to you by SMART. This weather update was brought to you by SMART.
New Year's is a time for us to make hearty resolutions that will help us better our lives, and then promptly forget about them. However, there are some resolutions we shouldn't forget about. Join us for our new series, 100%, where we'll be talking about being 100% in on things like our relationship with God, our spouses, finances, and more. Tune in at 10 a.m. right here on Channel 5 Belize.
Es un hecho. Únicamente con Smart obtienes todo realmente ilimitado. Solo con Smart obtienes datos ilimitados en cualquier momento. Mientras que con el otro proveedor solo son datos dobles los fines de semana. Con datos ilimitados todos los días no hay necesidad de esperar, así que es un hecho que nuestros planes ilimitados superan a la competencia. Por lo tanto, no permita que le digan cómo y cuándo usar sus datos y obtenga llamadas, mensajes de texto y datos ilimitados. Vive la verdadera experiencia de planes ilimitados con Smart. Es un hecho. Haga el cambio y viva Smart.
Connecting people. Creating memories.
Hey guys, so here we are at the Glaze Out Kitchen. I just prepared this amazing broccoli.
Sharing a smile. Next Connection, the ultimate digital experience.
The final 1% in Social Security contributions that was supposed to have taken effect earlier this month was deferred until the new fiscal year to give people a longer time to prepare for it. But according to the CEO at the Social Security Board, Deborah Ruiz, if those additional deductions from salaries do not take effect by April, there would need to be another restructuring of the scheme soon.
Part of the contribution reform, it was in two phases. The first phase was the change to the contribution wage band and the insurable ceiling. So that change has happened, but the agreement was for it to be done in 3 years. And during that 3-year period, we were to have the conversation as to what else needed to be done. We have different scenarios that could be contemplated, raising the retirement age, having the employers, for example, pay the first 3 days of sickness so Social Security doesn't cover it. There are even long-term implications of how the fund would be designed. Is it strictly that you want us to pay solely pensions, or do you want us to continue paying sickness? Because these benefits have a cost, and at the end of the day, it is what the stakeholders are willing to pay. And of course, the government is also contemplating the government pension and whether that needs to be contributed or not. So at the end of the day, it will impact our salaries and how much is deducted. No?
What set of funds, if it is this deferral or delay affecting, how is it affecting you?
Well, in the short term, it won't, because it's more a strategy in terms of the contribution reform to increase the pension liability. So it's more a long-term impact. If we continue, then the period of equilibrium will be reached sooner rather than later, because we have a 2-year breathing space. We have enough funds to cover our short-term, long-term, and employment injury benefits. So it's more in terms of how soon we need to do the reforms before we will reach that point again that we had explained to the stakeholders in 2019. So instead of 4 years, this change probably would drop it down to 2 years, that we have a window to do something.
CEO Ruiz said that coupled with contribution reform, there are other actuarial proposals for consideration, but those require in-depth discussions. Later this year, SSB will consult with stakeholders on possible measures such as the ratio that SSB and employers share for employees' sickness benefits.
One of the things that we were looking at is we pay a high 80% of the short-term benefit for sickness. And the impact you will see right now for COVID, because of the number of days, we are giving a replacement income. What that means is that if we insure you for $480, we're giving back 80% of that. Other schemes in the region only give 60% or 75%. So those are the discussions rather than a financial impact. If we reduce the amount that we pay out, would also make a difference. So those are the conversations we would need to have with stakeholders if that is the route they need to go, or if because one of the mandates really of the reform was that we needed to bring Social Security benefits in line with current income. So to have a conversation about stepping back would not be something that would be easily accepted. No? So, but those are the challenges and the options that are on the table. If you don't want to put out of pocket, then we have to reduce what we pay out. So those are conversations that will be had.
And just in case you were wondering how SSB is doing as it continues to pay out sickness benefits to COVID patients, Ruiz says there is sufficient money to cover that. Since the disease has plagued our economy, however, COVID-related payouts surpassed $4 million.
Every time somebody goes into the workforce and pays a contribution, we have a liability to pay a benefit. And it, as I said, it would be short term, whether that is sickness, maternity, funeral grants. We have employment injury and the medical care that comes with that. We have the pensions, retirement, invalidity, disability. So your contribution is shared among these different funds. We call them funds. And we have to grow reserves. We have to have savings in order to pay the long-term liability. And the one that costs the most is the pension. $4.4 million paid out in 2021 for COVID sickness claims. In terms of the overall payout for sickness benefit, we spent about $13 million in payouts. We paid about 29,000 cases overall and about 11.8 thousand cases for COVID-specific sickness. That would work out in 2020, about 12.7 days on average per person. And in 2021, even though we were paying out more claims, the number of days that persons were sick is less. And starting out in 2022, we're already seeing that the average is coming down. So even though we are getting more claims, the recovery seems to be shorter in terms of the number of days that we're paying out. We have a total to date from March 2020 to 2022 last week, 165,131 sick days that we have paid out.
The Ministry of Health has announced that their stock of AstraZeneca vaccines will expire on January 31st. Hence, the ministry is inviting persons who have still not yet received their COVID-19 vaccinations to go and get vaccinated so that these life-saving medications do not go to waste. And the ministry's technical advisor for maternal and child health, Dr. Natalia Beer, says there are still some 100,000 persons that should be vaccinated.
Coming the 1st of February 2022, we will no longer have AstraZeneca vaccines available at the vaccination sites. So for those persons that have second dose pending, or those who might still be interested in receiving first dose of AstraZeneca vaccine, or for those who want a booster but they want the booster to be AstraZeneca vaccine, we only have until the 31st of January to have access to this vaccine.
Do you anticipate, Doc, that all of this will be used up before the expiration date comes around?
Unfortunately, Belize is not the only country that is facing currently a low uptake of COVID-19 vaccines. We're still having a group of persons that are not probably need more information to really understand that the issue of COVID-19 vaccine. From the beginning, we said it was, there was a risk of getting infected, yes, but the value of COVID-19 vaccines, and this is for all, is the issue that have to do with survival. We have vaccines enough to cover the 99,000 persons that needs to be vaccinated.
Dr. Beer said that if all the vaccines were not administered by the expiry date, it would be lamentable since many countries are still waiting for the medication and the monetary value is so steep.
AstraZeneca, if we will utilize before the expiration date all the doses that we have, it depends on the persons that are pending to receive the vaccine.
Can you put a dollar figure on what's left there?
It's roughly about $4 per dose. And that is, we have in stock currently 59,000 doses, $472,000. Vaccines, just like any other pharmaceuticals, are utilized first in, first out. So the vaccines that we have in stock currently is part of a donation that we receive. But it still it would represent a loss of more than 400,000 Belize dollars.
Up next, a Belize City funeral takes on a carnival atmosphere. But was it a potential super spreader? Details when we come back.
The ministry is collaborating with SpeedNet Communications to have a vaccination campaign for children ages 12 to 17 years. Children who get vaccinated will get a chance to win fabulous prizes, including backpacks with supplies, Nintendo Switch, tablets, book tuitions, and MiFi with 3 months data. Only children 12 to 17 years old can participate in this smart and Ministry of Health and Wellness raffle. At vaccination sites, each vaccinated child, upon being vaccinated, will receive a ticket to place their name, age, date of birth, BHIS number, and contact information on, which will be filled out by a parent or legal guardian. The sooner a person vaccinates, the more chances he or she will have to win. Get vaccinated, Belize. Vaccination saves lives.
Taking its name from the venerable father of the nation, the George Price Highway stretches 77 miles from Belize City to Benque Viejo. Originally built in the 1930s, this cross-country highway system is the artery that links Belize to Central America at the western border with Guatemala. That connection facilitates overland trade, supporting Belize's economic development. Winding its way across the scenic countryside, the George Price Highway from Roaring Creek to Esperanza has been fully reconstructed to meet international standards, with particular emphasis on road safety. A shorter and hassle-free commute is best enjoyed when everyone obeys the traffic laws. To reduce the number and frequency of road traffic accidents, it means that a seatbelt must be worn at all times and the speed limit observed when traveling along the highway. It also means that pedestrians must use sidewalks and crosswalks where available. Buses should only board and discharge passengers at a designated bus stop. Road safety is everyone's responsibility. It begins with you.
What is the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine? The Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine is an RNA vaccine that triggers our immune system to develop antibodies against the SARS-CoV-2 virus that causes COVID-19. It helps to reduce hospitalization, severity of the disease, and death. What is the Pfizer vaccine made of, and is it safe? The Pfizer vaccine is made up of mRNA messenger ribonucleic acid, which are molecules that carry the genetic information needed to make proteins, lipid, salts, and sugar. It is safe for persons 12 years and older and does not contain the COVID-19 virus, hence cannot cause infection. Tests have shown that the vaccine is effective against current virus variants. Who should take the Pfizer vaccine? The Pfizer vaccine should be taken by persons 12 years of age and older who do not have severe allergic reaction after a previous dose of vaccine or have not had severe allergic reaction to any ingredient of this vaccine. 2 doses of the vaccine are required 3 weeks apart. If you are between the ages of 12 and 17 years, you are required to present a signed consent form before you are vaccinated. What are the side effects of the Pfizer vaccine? Some common side effects of the Pfizer vaccine are headache, fatigue, muscle pain, fever, chills, and swelling at the injection site. If side effects persist, contact your doctor as soon as possible. Does the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine prevent infection and transmission? No, vaccination alone does not prevent infection and transmission. We are still required to continue to wear masks properly, physically distance, wash and sanitize hands often, practice proper coughing and sneezing hygiene, and avoid crowds.
A funeral procession in Belize City this afternoon took on characteristics of a Carnival Road March. Information suggests that the deceased was a prominent member of the Carnival celebration community, Andrea Bowen. Questions arise, however, as to the safety and legality of such an activity. Notably, police officers were not present at the procession, and a number of participants were unmasked throughout. COVID-19 regulations still mandate that funeral services be limited to 10 persons or less. The Public Utilities Commission has extended the deadline for public consultations on the final draft for the Belize Electricity Limited's annual review, which includes proposals for a hike in electricity rates. The deadline is now January 31st. The release says, due to the importance of the decision, it is necessary to hear from everyone on the matter. The entire final draft is accessible at www.puc.bz. Comments on the final draft can be emailed to info@puc.bz. In case you missed it this week, the Caribbean island of Barbados saw a total electoral sweep as the Barbados Labour Party, led by Prime Minister Mia Mottley, won all 30 seats in Parliament. The defeated Democratic Labour Party says they are concerned about low voter turnout and will have to regroup. With more, here is a report from Caribbean Week in Review.
We stand today on the morning of the 20th of January, confident that the people of this nation have spoken with one voice, decisively, unanimously, and clearly. We want each and every one of us to thank the people of Barbados for the confidence that they continue to repose in us, to be able to lead this country first to safety and then to prosperity.
Prime Minister Mottley said she also wanted to address the allegation that her decision to call an early general election was to facilitate a one-party state in the country.
I am a child of democracy. I know what it is to have known every single prime minister in this nation since Errol Walton Barrow. And it is that solemn commitment in front of you, the people of this nation, in front of the people of the world, and in particular in front of my parliamentary colleagues, that I swear today that we shall continue to keep the best precepts of democracy, transparency, and accountability alive for the people of this nation.
Meantime, speaking to journalists with just a handful of the unsuccessful DLP candidates at her side, a dejected president of the main opposition party, Verla de Pisa, conceded defeat and said her party had to figure out its next step, including who will take it forward as a leader. But she also expressed concern about continued low voter turnout.
Our only concern is that the voter turnout continues to be depressed, and I do believe that we have to take a serious look at that going forward as to how we reclaim the confidence of our people in the process of democracy. Outside of that, as far as our team is concerned, we will regroup. We will decide, not tonight, but sometime in the future, what it is that we are doing, and we will communicate with you in relation to that. But congratulations to the Barbados Labour Party for their victory.
The victory for Mottley's party comes just a few months after Barbados became a republic, removing the Queen as head of state and elected its first president. And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available in both text and streaming video at channel5belize.com. You can also connect with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/News5Live. I'm Annalena Polonia. Thanks for joining us, and from all of us here at News 5, please remember to wash your hands, keep your social distance, and stay safe. Good night.